Good evening, everyone. We are actually coming out of executive session, so I'm going to make a motion to return to public session. The time is 6:14 p.m. on Thursday, September 8th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll begin tonight's meeting with public comment. Just as a reminder, those who are here for the public hearing, you can reserve your public comment for the public hearing, so it's on the record. But if there's any public comment outside of tonight's public hearing, either feel free to come up to the podium, or we can let you in on Zoom. So Sage, I'm not sure if anyone's raising their hand.
We do have Christine Whitaker signed up for public comment.
I think she just left.
Okay. No one yet.
Okay, thank you. If there's no additional hands or no one for public comment, we'll keep on moving in tonight's meeting. So I'd like,
Christine.
oh, there's
Christine
Christine,
in the back.
okay.
Sorry,
Christine.
Christine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Christine, you have to go to this mic here.
No.
It's too public. Christine Whitaker. I just wanted to bring up two things. There was a letter in the press a couple weeks ago from the woman who was head of the CAC in Watermill about a party that, in Watermill, I don't remember the road, but it became clear that only code enforcement officers are the ones that can abate something like that, a party, or, you know, police can show up. But I wondered, obviously it must be the same in the village, and I wondered if there was any thought. I noticed on resolution number 9 that you've got two trainees. You've got two trainees for, you know, code enforcement. And I was just wondering if there was any thought, because really it's at night on the weekend that where there's noise. So, you know, it used to be that there was always an hour decades ago, but it would seem to me that that's when you need somebody. Anyway, and the second thing was that I came across something that bike lanes in New York State, that they allow electric bikes in bike lanes. So I was wondering, on some of these narrow streets where you might be considering putting bike lanes, if you'd taken that into consideration. Because electric bikes would also lend itself to skateboarding and that kind of thing. So that's all.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Christine.
One thing that I would add is that we are going to be making some announcements thanks to our Board of Trustees, and with the help of everybody here, and in particular Trustee Resta and Trustee Manger. We're going to be rolling out a increased plan for code enforcement, and we've got, as you can see here on Resolution 9, we've got two part-time individuals, and this is going to be a nighttime code enforcement operation as well. So we're going to be shortly rolling this out, and we'll make a further announcement later, but we're very excited about this, and this is going to be very good for the village. So appreciate you bringing that up. It's a great point. So thank you, Christine. If there's no additional public comment, we'll move forward to the next portion of our meeting, and that is the Employee of the Month. So the Employee of the Month this month is Jada Gant, who is an office assistant in Village Hall. And also just wanted to thank Kathy Sweeney, our village clerk, for preparing this for me. If she'd like to say additional words, we'd love to have Kathy speak, but this really encompasses Jada, who has done such a phenomenal job. I'm not sure if Jada is here right now, but here's just a few of many outstanding points to highlight. Jada has represented herself in such a poised, professional, and pleasant manner throughout our year together. From day one, we all have had a wonderful connection and complement one another while working on a myriad of projects. To the benefit of our team, Jada has demonstrated clarity, attention to detail, and a willingness to jump in on any project. Our operation tempo has been very high this past year. Our colleagues have had several office relocations, numerous office moves where Jada was assisting with organizing and streamlining voluminous amounts of paperwork. This has been a critical asset since oftentimes these tasks are set aside with the hopes of getting them on a rainy day. Jada is our ray of sunshine, completing many of these rainy day tasks to make day-to-day workload run more efficiently. Orchestrating meeting agendas, Jada has been a key member in the generation of our 2022 Village of Southampton meeting calendar, a special project Jada and I have worked on together. This is, again, thoughts from Kathy, and I can tell you, Jada, this meeting calendar has been very helpful. Very, thank you. Our village governed 9 meetings per month and is a critical part of our daily operations with the village. Facilitating minutes for our Board of Trustees meetings, Jada composed and compiled the minutes for 20 of our Board of Trustee meetings, which is a very tedious yet very important role in which our village residents refer to the finalized minutes as a tool regarding the civic happenings within the village. Again, a really big lift that Jada has done. Collaborating with our village election team, Jada maintained a well-organized absentee ballot process by conducting daily audits, filling daily FOIL requests, and maintaining communication with our NICOM council to ensure the team was in compliance. Jada is exceptional. Hoping this will provide insight and application for all the hard work Jada has provided, and we are grateful to have her on our team. Please stay connected with us and let us know how we can continue to extend Jada's time with us. So again, this is a recommendation from Kathy Sweeney, Village Clerk, but I can certainly second this. Jada has been outstanding. She has brought a positive attitude to Village Hall, and she just, again, has been absolutely exceptional, and we're very happy to have her as part of our Village Hall team. And so wanted to thank her for her commitment and time to the village. So thank you again. We can keep moving tonight. We will have our first public hearing. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing regarding local law 13-2022, the proposal to amend the Village Code Chapter 110-43, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking restrictions. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So first I'll turn this over to Ken Gray, our village attorney. He can just update this as to what this is, and then I will open this up to public comment.
Oh, hold on a second. Yes, Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Good, Ken. So if you just can just update us as to what this public hearing is about and what the amendments are in our village code, just so the public could get
Sure.
updated.
So this has to do with Pulaski Avenue, both sides of the road. Currently, from Elm Street west to Maple Street, it's limited to 2-hour parking from 6 a.m. to midnight. And then from Elm Street to Maple Street, it's no parking midnight to 6 a.m. This is altering that a little bit so that the limited 2-hour parking from that location is only 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then it goes to no standing, no stopping, no parking from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I think this was a request of a number of the residents in the area that they were having some problems, and this was the board's response. Is proposed to alter it so that there's no standing, stopping, or parking from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. on Pulaski Avenue from Elm Street west to Maple Street.
Thank you, Ken. Are there any comments from the board before we go to public comment from the members of the audience?
No.
Okay, so we'll open this up to public comment from the residents. Anyone who would like to make public comment, feel free to come forward, state your name and address for the record. Anyone would like to move forward? Okay.
You good? Okay. You notice we're all looking at you.
The only thing I would add, and I'd like to get your feedback as residents, is, and I'm not sure if we can even do this, so I'll have to defer to the village attorney. Would it be possible, is there a component of this where we'd like to extend additional parking for residents? Is that something that you would consider, or is that something that's not of interest?
Possible, please. I didn't know.
And you're welcome to come up if you,
Apologize. I'm going to be hosting Thanksgiving this year, and I have a number of family coming up, and that was something I was going to talk to the village about if I needed a permit to place in their cars, because we only have a certain number. So I'm more than happy to get a permit and put it in their cars, if that's, we don't have to go any further with that, I'm
Right.
happy
Yes,
to
the
do
vil-
that.
the village clerk can provide you an
Oh,
exception
perfect.
parking
Yeah.
letter.
As long as I have an option, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
No, yeah, that's easy. We do that all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
Uh,
very welcome.
That's a good thing. Again, I was just maybe thinking, again, for me, it's six of one, half dozen of another, but I thought it could be nice to even consider residents here in case that, have a resident parking exception, the way obviously a resident's going to park on our beaches, for example. Is that something that anyone would be willing to consider? And Ken, is that something that could be added in here?
Well, I'm just curious, since we have some of the residents here, I mean, is there a problem with you parking on your property in your driveway? Is there an issue there where you need to have on-street parking? Because we usually try to discourage on-street parking.
Currently, we don't have a problem. My neighbors all park on their own properties because of the parking rules, and we all have enough space currently as it is. So as long as we have that option to come and, and ask for resident or family parking, I think that's that marries well, but,
Make the enforcement more difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's black or white, and there's a car there, it shouldn't be there. But all of a sudden now, we're gonna have to like, well, is it a resident, is it not a resident, and it becomes more difficult to enforce
Well,
visually.
Yeah, and also it's a narrow street, and obviously we need room for emergency vehicles, especially fire trucks, to be able to maneuver there, if there were to be a fire. So I think usually it's better to have cars not on street parking, but actually on people's properties in their driveways.
That's what we do.
Yeah, no, that's great, that's good.
Okay. Fine, but I just brought this up. One resident brought this to my attention and had expressed some concerns. Again, this is a resident parking, so that's, again, wanted to bring that up. But I'm fine. I
Okay.
can, does anyone have any other comments?
No, as long as they seem to be happy in the front row there, so.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, our next is communications to the board. We have Jay Deasing, a correspondent regarding telephone pole removal.
Yes, this was received as the written comment period for the comprehensive plan. Mr. Deasing said, through the master plan, the village should create a telephone pole removal program, particularly for, I'm bringing my microphone up, particularly for the business and historic districts. Almost nothing detracts more from the ambiance of our village than these unsightly poles, wires, and transformers, and they are dangerous. Remember the 4th of July fireworks on Job's Lane when balloons and transformers collided, causing a fire and explosion. A plan should be created to remove them over the next 10 years during paving, sewer, and/or sidewalk upgrades. Instead, the utilities are simply installing larger poles with more transformers. Do not allow them to further destroy our village. And he did actually submit a picture which was circulated to the board, and it's been provided to the clerk to be added to the official record for the public hearing.
All right, thank you. I would just say I absolutely agree, and I think we should make this a focus within our Public Works Department. If there is an opportunity to obviously bury power lines, it's quite important for the village. So anyway, thank you very much. We'll keep on moving.
Can I ask one question,
Sure.
Jesse? I'm sorry. Is Frank Fish of BFJ online? I know that he wanted to speak just briefly about the master plan. It would be all right to have him speak now,
Sure,
since
absolutely.
he's on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent.
bring them in.
Yeah, please bring him in.
Good evening, can you hear me all right?
Yes, Frank.
Yes.
Thank you
Hi,
very
Frank.
much.
Great, okay. I think Noah is also here, and we just thought we could go over with you the memo that we sent to you last week, and there were, these are just to review. There were comments at the public hearing, as you know, and then there were comments from the county and a couple of comments in writing. And what Noah and I did was just to go through them, and we went through them with Bill and the mayor and Roy as committee members to just make sure that we responded to any substantive comments that were made. You know, some comments were in favor of the plan, and other comments might have been on things that weren't germane to the plan, but we narrowed them down to the memo we gave you to about 9 points. And we just wanted to make sure you were okay on our proposed responses to those tonight. And if you are, Noah and I can make those changes in the planning document, and then get that document back to you, hopefully next week. And we would also get back to you, if you remember at the public hearing, there was a question on seeker. We'll get back to you the final document for seeker, which is the negative declaration. That is that there are no significant adverse impacts to adopting the plan. So we'll get all that back to you next week, so that by the 20th, our hope is then you would be in a position as a board to make that negative declaration and then adopt the plan. So that's the sort of anticipation. But we need to make sure that you were okay on the memo, and I can just highlight that really quickly if you want.
Yeah,
On the
please,
memo,
please
the
do,
first
Frank, I think that would be
item
helpful.
Oh, sorry?
Yes, please do.
Okay. The first item was on County Route 39. And there was a speaker who really wanted to make sure that the village was involved in that. The mayor responded to that, saying the village was involved. But we strengthened the word that the village supports a county study of County Route 39 in terms of traffic and improving traffic on it. So that's the real first comment. The second comment was an individual, another speaker, I think it was the 8th speaker, if I remember correctly, also picked up on that and wanted to conduct a local traffic study for local roads. And I think the response that we heard that night was, that would be agreed to. So we put some language in the plan basically saying that. It doesn't commit you to do it at any particular moment, but it does indicate that that should also be done. And then the third one, was a woman got up, I think she might have been the second or third speaker, and said that she went on to describe the art student league in Manhattan, how she felt that that was such an important arts group, and that it could be very, very, an addition to Southampton if it were pursued. And we put that in the plan on page 65. And we've already got a section in the plan, as you all know, on the creation of an overlay district for arts and culture downtown on Jobs and Hill Street. So we put that language in. And then the fourth comment was person got up at the public hearing and said, well, what happens to the committee after the plan is finished? So we put in the plan that, one, the plan should be adopted, not adopted, but updated, every 10 years. And then that on a yearly basis, if you wish, the trustees could ask the committee to just be a reminder to the trustees as how they're doing on the plan. That's up to you, or you could also assign that to like the planning department or your planner. But the question was, what happens to the committee after the plan is done? So we put that in, saying, well, one function of the committee over time could be that it, reports back to you yearly, which we thought it was a very good comment. The fifth comment, there was a series of comments made by Evelyn Conrad, but one of them was very specific about Meadow Lane. She felt it was overbuilt, and so we put a suggestion here on Meadow Lane that two future ways of controlling it are first to strengthen the tidal wetland and beach overlay district and flood hazard areas, so that we make sure that things that are in the FEMA measurements are not included in lot count. You could do that through the subdivision ordinance, or perhaps what is simpler, the second option, is to rezone the R80 portions to R120. So we put those two options in the plan, just giving you the flexibility in the future to respond, if you wish, on Meadow Lane. Her sense was it was overbuilt. So those were the two options we put in the draft language. A sixth comment is subdivisions. And this was mentioned also. One of Evelyn's concerns was, undeveloped parcels, how they'll be treated. And the mayor also spoke to us on this, as well as the plant, as well as you, Alex. And we thought on subdivisions, we already have a section on subdivisions in the plan, and state law allows you as a board to authorize your planning board to mandate what's called a cluster subdivision. We sometimes call it an open space subdivision. It allows the planning board to say, all right, you have to preserve certain open space on this site. And if you give them that authority, and that's done on a site-by-site basis, but you can give it to them, and then they can mandate what we call a cluster subdivision, or many people call it an open space subdivision. Or also there's the ability for you to simply address this issue by excluding environmentally sensitive lands from the lot count in the subdivision ordinance. So there's two things there as a response for you to consider in the future that we put into the text.
Frank, Ken Gray here. How are you? Can I interrupt for a second?
Hi. Yes, Ken, yeah, absolutely.
Good. I believe the village code also, and many villages have the issue with the open space. If the developer, if it's not practical, there's a parkland fee that can be substituted for the actual percentage of open space that they're required to provide, correct?
Yes, correct. Many ordinances, yes. We find that particularly in our upstate work that a developer will pay a recreation fee instead of providing the open space.
I think the village code has that right now.
Yes. And what I think here, the difference was that I don't think right now your village code, although the trustees, I believe the trustees can, I'll defer to you as the attorney, but what we've seen upstate sometimes in state law, I believe, is specific, saying that the trustees of the village can give the planning board the authority on any given site, or they can give them sort of carte blanche authority to actually mandate a cluster subdivision so that the developer has to produce open space. So that's a nice component of state law, I thought, that might respond on the concern about this vacant land that is still, there's not much of it in the village, but we thought, if someone comes in, somebody with over 3 units, let's say, give the planning board that option to actually mandate cluster subdivision, and then it'd be up to the planning board to spot on the site where they would like the open space, or the developer, they give the developer that option too, but it gives the planning board greater power.
Frank,
Thank you.
Frank and Ken, I just wanted to jump in here. There is precedence in the village for where the village board has actually given authority for specific cluster subdivisions. 2 of them are on Wickapog Road. One is at the intersection of Wickapog and Old Town. That was preserved in exchange, again, for the cluster subdivision of the Old Town development. The other one is at the end of, or where the 90-degree turn in Wickapog is. Again, that corner was preserved for forever as open space in exchange for a Halsey subdivision that was done in that area. And finally, the Cobblefield development is actually a cluster subdivision with the homes all put towards the rear of the property, and the front that is visible from Narrow Lane from the street is very visible as open space. So there are examples in the village of where the Board of Trustees did that specifically, but what Frank is explaining here is we could also mandate that the planning board in future subdivisions mandate that this open space be preserved for subdivisions to go forward. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of instances in the village where this was done before and sets a precedent in the village. So thank you to Frank and Ken also.
Great. And then, the seventh one we had in our memo was just, as you know, in the plan, there was a recommendation on the MF20 zone for one certain area to be rezoned because it's mostly smaller houses on, R7, on sites of, 7,500 square feet, or in a few cases larger. And we recommended there that it be rezoned to the RMF 7.5. But there's a woman who called in and said she was worried about that. Could there be some flexibility? And so we've suggested some flexibility here between R7.5 and R12.5, so that when you get to this in the future, you can look at it specifically. It's a relatively small area of the village that's currently zoned MF20. And I think the mayor had made this original recommendation, actually, that we do this. So that's a response to her. And then the last two comments are just from Suffolk County. They wanted to include guidance on the micro-mobility vehicles. So we mentioned that on page 65. We already have a section, as you know, on bikes, and we mentioned the micro-mobility options could be addressed. We don't say that you have to provide anything, but we say you ought to look at that. It's on page 65. And then the other comment from the county was regarding renewable energy. And the county has their own guidelines on that, and we said, we ought to put that in. It's their guidelines, some good things that the village could do. And basically, those are the 9 comments that, going through this with the committee members of your board, with the mayor and with Bill and Roy, that's what we felt would be the response to the public hearing and to the county's comments. If you are okay on these, we have languages that we sent you that we can then incorporate into a revised plan and get it to you next week. And that way you would have, for the 20th, you'd have a plan that responds to public comments and county comments, and that could be adopted. I think the implementation of these comments doesn't affect the negative declaration for compliance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act. In fact, it makes it better. All of these comments, I think, improve the plan and don't have significant environmental adverse effects. So that's basically just to make sure that there's a consensus on this. I leave it to Ken. I don't think a formal vote is necessary on this, but up to Ken whether you want to vote on this or just get a sense of the board.
No, I don't think it's appropriate for a formal vote tonight. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I think it's just a sense of the board. Ken, I'm sorry. I think just a sense of the board would be helpful to us, and then we'll be able to send the revised plan for the 20th.
I think those comments are all valid and respond to the public input that we received. I just want to make it very clear to everybody that even by adopting the plan, if we do so at the next meeting, does not make all of these things implemented overnight. Again, it's just a plan that's giving a guideline to the village, and then each of the objectives or suggestions in the plan would have to be acted upon really individually. And so even just by adopting the plan, it does not then all of a sudden implement all of the recommendations overnight that are in the plan. It just is saying the plan is adopted, and now it's up to the village to determine if and when they want to adopt the different elements and suggestions that are put forward in the plan.
Yeah, Bill, thank you. And I should have also said that any of these zoning recommendations if and when the trustees wish to consider them, they need their own also environmental assessment form. You
Right.
need to make sure that, seekers complied with on any individual zoning change. And it doesn't mandate the board to do something, but it does provide in the plan for an option for the board to do something. Because usually on zoning, I'm going to defer here to Ken again, the courts have said, or at least it's been drilled into me in one case in particular, that zoning ought to be based on a well-reasoned plan. So we are trying to anticipate where you might want to consider some future zoning changes.
Yeah, no,
And as everybody knows, those proposed zoning changes, if the village moves forward with them, needs to go to the Suffolk County Planning Commission for their input.
that's right. And they would have to all have a public hearing and then be voted on by the Board of Trustees. So, again, I just want it to be very clear that just by adopting the plan, it does not implement all of the aspects that are discussed in the comprehensive plan.
Correct.
Thank you.
That's right, so thank you.
I think, Noah, correct me if there's anything else. I think those were the sort of points we had.
Yeah, I think you had it. I know that Alex is just giving the document a once over to make sure we, address, I don't know if there are typos, but, any loose ends, things that are non-substantive, I think that would also be picked up. There aren't things that we would need to talk about in this meeting, but certainly we'll make sure that the document is polished before we send it back.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you, Noah.
Right. So, Mayor, I think we could turn it back to you, and just if there's, if we can get some sense from you, and if we be able to go forward next week, just adopt these into the plan for your consideration on the 20th.
All right, thank you, Frank. I think that's good. I think it's, I think we did a nice job incorporating all of the public comments into the master plan, which is exactly why we had that final public hearing. And again, to echo what you and Trustee Manger said, again, just because this is in the master plan, that does not constitute a change in zoning. That would require a public hearing, EIS and SECRA, and that would be an additional step. So this is just a roadmap moving forward. Again, as evidenced in the 1999 master plan, there was a 2005 zoning code change that actually did not at all reflect the master plan. So it just goes to show you that the master plan is not the zoning code. It is just a roadmap, hopefully, for it. The only other question I have for you would be, you mentioned there was a resident who expressed some concern about the MF20 zone. Could you just explain that a little bit further? I know we brought this up. One thing I did want the master plan to look at was both workforce housing and also multifamily housing. And one concern that I had was that you'd see certain zones that were zoned multifamily, or certain homes that were multifamily slowly but steadily get converted to single-family homes. So the village of Southampton has lost several two-family and three-family homes, which were very valuable to working people, and we've lost that. So my only concern is that maybe the master plan doesn't go as far as to address that lost inventory. We did speak about the Hampton Road Office District, but could you just, on a separate note, I'm just curious about the concern that one resident had.
Yeah, I think that, by the way, I've heard this concern from Bill Manger, and so Bill, you may have a better feel for that, but I think one owner in the zone expressed just a fear that I guess she owns a single-family home, and single-family homes are allowed, so it isn't going to affect her, but that there might be that type of size, the 7,500 square foot size, might instill more development of multifamily houses around her. Now, in essence, that's the very zone where we want to kind of encourage. Most of the houses, they can't meet the requirements of the MF20. So it makes much more sense to rezone that to the lower lot size. But to respond to her, we just said, maybe we should give the trustees, maybe we should just mention in this, the ability of the trustees to look at both lower lot sizes in your code, and that's R75 and R12.5, and let you make a decision later, so that we don't box you in other words, to to one option. And I think that was our response to her.
Thank you.
Frank, if I can add to that.
Yes, go ahead, Noah.
I think in the document we provide, the MF20 district is fairly small. I'm going to guess maybe 30 or so lots. And we provided a map which shows average parcel size for those areas. And what we found was the lots were much smaller than 20,000 square feet, which is the minimum lot size for the MF20. And so we saw that, we thought 7.5, meaning 7,500 square foot minimum lot size was appropriate because there really is a mix between, not all parcels are the same size. It goes from 7,500 or less to, 13, 14, 15,000 square feet. What we didn't want to do was, make all of the lots non-conforming. We wanted to make more of them conforming such that if they were to redevelop now, it would be forced to convert to single family. We want to make sure that we retain the character of that community. So we thought 7,500 was appropriate, but maybe also you might look at a slightly larger parcel size, when you get into the details.
It would be saying that if you wanted to have multifamily, you might need to have a larger parcel than the smallest parcel possible, which you may still want to reserve for some of the small single-family homes that exist in that area. Does that make sense, Jesse?
Perfect. Okay, excellent. Are there any other comments from the board? Okay, we can keep on moving. Frank and Noah, thank you very much for all of your hard
Okay,
work.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so we'll keep on moving here. We have a few discussion items for the village. I'll make this very brief. The first discussion item was the village-wide speed limit. Again, we're working on that. We are very close to getting some results back from engineers. But again, the goal is to, now the state law is in place, to do a global 25-mile-an-hour speed limit to stop some speeding traffic through the side streets. And then on some of the main arteries, which strangely are 25, make those 30. Again, this will be backed up by traffic engineers, but this is, we're very close to this, so that's good news. The second update on traffic is that we're working with a traffic engineer. They've already been out this past week. They're continuing their work this week to do traffic counts on Hill Street. Our goal is to get an exact number of counts to know how many cars are using Hill Street so that we can do additional analysis to determine how we can fix the traffic on the area. So at our next work session, we'll have these results and we're looking forward to them. This will also help us calculate the number of cars using the side streets. So again, I think we're doing a good job on that front, and we'll have a resolution backing up additional study on Hill Street, and that goes hand in hand with our VHB study. Well, when we get to the meeting, Ken will discuss whether it makes sense to do a walk-on for a couple other items. The third discussion item is that I asked our village attorney to update our code so that it helps with enforcement. So for example, if you are a builder or you're a landlord and you have open citations, the goal is we want those citations fixed before coming back and getting another building permit. So we want to amend our code to update that. Ken, if you think we can notice a public hearing tonight, great. If not, we can wait to our work session. And then there's that additional topic we spoke about to adjust our village code so we can address traffic. But again, if we're not ready tonight, we can do it at our work session. But again, preservation, traffic, very important issues. Ken, I'm not sure if you had any thoughts there or would like to wait to the end of the meeting.
Well, we can wait till the end of the meeting. The issue is, for the traffic issue, obviously we have to wait for the traffic study. It doesn't make sense to notice a public hearing for a local law that has not been drafted yet, and we haven't received the traffic report. So I don't think that's necessarily appropriate. For the first local law you mentioned about, let me repeat this. I usually am resident to give legal advice during an open meeting, but I think it's a good practice to have a draft of the local law circulated amongst the Board of Trustees before you set and schedule a public hearing. It saves time. It makes sure that you have a consensus of the board as to what you want to do. But quite honestly, I didn't draft the local law concerning the issue of not being able to move forward with a building permit or go to a land use board. That was tasked to Jeff Blinkoff, who's the land use attorney. And he actually forwarded a draft of that to me today. And I forwarded it to the board, but I don't think anybody's had an opportunity to review that.
So
it's been
we do have, I'm happy to move this to the work session, but we do have the amendment to the code, so we could notice it out. But again, it's 12 days to our next meeting. I'd like to keep things moving, but if the board's more comfortable with waiting, we could wait. We'll keep the meeting moving, but just wanted to update the board as to things on some additional local laws that we'll be working on. So that being said, we'll move forward with our suggested resolutions. I'll turn this over to Charlene for that.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 1, resolved that the claims for the warrant dated September 7th, 2022, totaling $214,861.09, warrant number A14, General Fund, and $9,062.05, warrant H5, Capital Fund, are audited and approved. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 2, resolved that the Board of Trustees appoints the Budget and Finance Committee members to a term ending June 30th, 2024. Len Zinanti, Dane Neller, Rosemary Dios, Edward Moneypenny, and James McNaughton. Is
Gina,
there a
I'll let you
motion?
do the honors.
I make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd just like to comment, please. I wanted to thank the mayor for allowing me the opportunity to recommend on his behalf the reappointment of this advisory committee that has been essential to the efficiency, the operation of this village. And because I work with them day in and day out, and I do appreciate their volunteer service to this village. And I'd just like to remind everyone that together with our village administrator, Charlene Capel-Betts, they were very instrumental in lowering our taxes, the budget before this budget and this past budget, to keep the taxes flat. So I'm honored that the mayor allows me the opportunity to present this mayoral resolution to reappoint the Budget and Finance Committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll appreciate it, and thank you to the Budget and Finance Committee. So we'll move on to Resolution 3.
Resolution number 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton hereby approves Local Law 13-2022, the proposal to amend the Village Code, Chapter 110-43, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking restrictions for Pulaski Avenue.
Motion.
Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village authorizes the village administrator to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022 at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person / Zoom meeting regarding Local Law 15-2022, the proposal to amend Village Code Chapter Section A119-2 for fees. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second, discussion. This is to help the building department to be able to record accurate fees for construction that is going on in the village. Right now, as you may know, the way we calculate the fees is based on the estimated price of construction. It seems that there are some projects going on in the village where the final price is quite different from what was the estimated price. In the cases where obviously the cost of construction is more than what was estimated, the village is missing out on those fees that we could charge for the difference in estimated versus actual. Mm-hmm. This local law, if adopted, would allow the village to go back after construction is completed and before the certificate of occupancy is awarded, and be able to get the actual price of construction. And if there was a variance from the estimated, we would be able to, again, have the building department charge them for the difference in the fees from, again, estimated to actual.
Thank you very much. I think this also helps because there's been a lot of inflation, so prices might change start to finish. So this might actually allow us to capture the
Exactly.
cost of inflation.
How
So-
are the actual costs certified? How do you find out what they are?
So this local law asks that the builder sign an affidavit as to what the final actual cost of construction was.
Okay.
So on the motion, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 5, resolve the Board of Trustees approves the proposal from Nelson Pope and Voorhees to perform a targeted rush hour traffic analysis for Hill Street in the amount of $8,500 to be paid from trustee special projects A1010.443. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 6, resolve the Board of Trustees approves Nelson Pope and Voorhees and Squires Surveying to perform meets and bounds for Dozier Park for $450 to be paid by trustee special projects A1010.443. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 7, resolve the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign an agreement between the Village of Southampton and Certain Media Incorporated, which will provide audiovisual services for the village at a rate of $3,000 per month. Services provided over 30 hours per month will be at a rate of $3,500 for that respective month. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 8, resolved that the Board of Trustees appoints Catherine Styler Feldman to the position of Heavy Equipment Operator in the Highway DPW Department at a salary of $62,347.20, effective Friday, September 9th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Just 8 and 9 should just be corrected, just pursuant to 4-400. These are actually not a Board of Trustees appointment, these are mayoral appointments, so I just want to make sure we're doing the language properly. I'll defer that to Ken, but typically these are not, unlike a committee, this is not a board appointment, so it should just read, mayor appoints, just for the minutes to be correct.
Well, I think on the appointment for Catherine Styler, I would agree with that, but I don't believe that's correct with the hiring of the Certain Media Inc.
Media Inc. is a Board of Trustees appointment. We're talking about 8 and 9. 9 is part-time code enforcement officers.
Oh, you know what? Okay. My numbering system is off. I apologize. Yes, so the hiring would be a mayoral appointment subject to ratification by the Board of Trustees.
So we should just revise the resolution, which
All right, so we would revise the resolution. Resolution would be amended to read that the mayor appoints and the Board of Trustees approves Catherine Styler Feldman to the position of Heavy Equipment Operator in the Highway DPW Department at a salary of $62,347, effective September 9th, 2022. On the amendment, do we have a motion?
motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And on the resolution, do we have a motion?
I'll make the
A motion on the amended resolution.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 9, we're going to amend as follows. Resolved that the mayor appoints and the Board of Trustees approve Rovit Morales and Donna Bennett to the positions of part-time code enforcement trainees in the building department at a rate of $22 per hour, effective August 29th, 2022. On the amendment, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And on the resolution, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 10, the Board of Trustees accepts the letter of resignation from Jacqueline Allen, Office Assistant, effective September 1st, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 11, resolve the Board of Trustees approves a written request submitted by Mike Lieberman from the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue to volunteer as lifeguards for the Surfers Healing event on Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ponquag Beach. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 12, resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the Southampton Intermediate School to host an 8th grade kickball tournament on the baseball field on Friday, September 23rd, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Flying Point Park Downs Field. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Charlene. Appreciate the resolutions. We'll move forward to comments from board members. We'll start with Deputy Mayor Resta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to congratulate Jada on Employee of the Month. She always has a smile, and she has a wonderful demeanor. She walks up and down the hallway, and she's just was always so steady in what she was doing, and you gave her a task, and she did it with a smile, always, and a great job, Jada. It was great having you here for the summer, and hope to see you soon. I'd also like to, Gary Gillespie, who has been our DPW superintendent these past years and has worked for the village for almost 37 years now, is going into the next stage of his life. He's retiring, so his last day of work here is September 15th. So I wanted to thank Gary for his service and his time with the village, and it was a pleasure for me working with him as liaison to the DPW the past 2 years, and it was a pleasure, Gary. And he will be doing consulting work for us in the interim. So we will have some more conversations, Gary. You didn't get rid of me yet. And I just want to wish him all the best in his retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Resta. Trustee Brown.
Good evening, everyone. I too would like to congratulate Jada, and I also would like to, I appreciate that the board as well as our Village Hall team have all recognized her. And we also want to give a special thanks because she was referred to us from Bonnie Cannon from Bridgehampton Child Center. And it's just agencies like that coming together. You know, it takes a village, and here she's been well received, and her energy and her work has been greatly appreciated. And I'm so glad, and I say congratulations to you. Thank you, Jada. And on the second note, I want to congratulate all of our agencies, our police officers, our fire department, our ambulance. We had a holiday that was pleasant and safe, and that's because you're always on the job, behind the scenes, making sure things are done well and keeping our village safe. And I can speak for myself as well, I'm sure, for the board, thanking you and commending you for doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Trustee Manger.
Yeah, I would just like to, again, thank everybody in the village, all the work they did, all the employees for a very, very busy summer that we had here in Southampton. I think we did see larger crowds than we have in the past. That's a good thing, but you know, it also is challenging. And we were able to get through it. We had superb weather, which certainly made Cooper's Beach do very well. I did get down to judge the Sandcastle contest last weekend. That was well attended. And I just want to, again, thank all the village employees for their hard and dedicated work over a very long, hot summer. But we got through it, and I want to thank them really for their efforts. On another note, a very sad note, I want to announce the death of one of our members of our land use boards, and that is the death of Peter Dewitt this afternoon, who served on our Architectural Review Board and Board of Historic Preservation. And certainly we want to send condolences to his partner James and all of his friends and the work that he did here on behalf of the village. He will be missed. And again, just very, very sad news we received this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Manger. Trustee Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just ditto with Trustee Brown and Trustee Manger and Trustee Aresta, thanking everybody in Southampton Village for making this summer such a success. We're a small village, and but in the summer we become a very big village with a lot of people stressing our resources. And from the folks here in Village Hall, helping with beach passes and helping with requests, the building department handling all of the jobs that are being done in construction in the village. Of course, as Trustee Brown mentioned, the fire, police, ambulance, the TCOs who come and try and keep our streets safe, the lifeguards, the DPW that does a great job keeping the village looking neat in spite of all the people marching around. The highway department, I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but I just can't thank everybody enough for the job they do in helping our little village host so many guests and having them appreciate our village so much that they want to keep coming back here. It really is special. Love living here full time. This is, for all of us who are here full time, this now becomes, certainly for most of us, our favorite time, because it's still really nice, and we get to drive down and don't have to worry about the traffic study quite so much. But in any case, I just want to take my hat off to everybody who makes Southampton such a special place. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. And I'll just conclude echoing the remarks of Trustee Manger. This was a devastating surprise to learn of this. We are here for Peter's partner, James, and the village, of course, will be recognizing Peter's passing, and this is a big loss for the village, and just devastating news. And so I know this is also a need for privacy, so I don't want to speak about it any further, but I truly am heartbroken about the news. It is devastating, and it's just something that one would not expect, and just a devastating loss for the village community here. He was an important volunteer, and just a good overall person. And we'll maybe speak about this further at a later date, but I just wanted to extend my condolences to his partner, as well as his colleagues and friends across the village. So on a different note, and hard to say anything else at this point, so I'll make it brief here. I just wanted to give the village an update that myself and the acting chief, Hurto, we went in front of the Suffolk County Legislature this week requesting funding either out of the operating or capital budget from the Suffolk County budget for a traffic study, a comprehensive traffic study, essentially from Canoe Place in all the way through Watermill. We're doing everything we can, including the flashing lights, but we're going to implement a pilot program shortly that we think will be very successful. But until we can get the traffic moving on County Road 39, our efforts on Hill Street will not be achieved. So we've got to get those cars moving. We've had a lot of meetings with the county, with the town, with other engineers, and we just made it clear to the Suffolk County Legislature, nicely asked for funding for a comprehensive traffic study, which I think would be a big help, which is what the Commissioner of the Highway Department and Public Works Department is looking for in order to kind of change some of the lights and come up with any type of improvements to County Route 39. Keeping moving here, wanted to congratulate Kat Styler. She is now an employee of the Department of Public Works and the Highway Department. Kat, you may not know, is a heavy equipment operator. We're certainly short-staffed in that regard. She's an outstanding person when it comes to that type of machinery, snow removal, and other things that she can do, such as beach raking. So I think that she'll be an outstanding addition to the Public Works Department. I'm very happy for her and her family, and I'm very happy for the village. And then, with that being said, wanted to welcome Charles Certain. Sage Certain is here tonight doing our videography. Many of the residents will notice the change in our mics, which may be quite clear, but just wanted to welcome the Certain family. And then also wanted to extend my thank yous to Jackie Allen, who steered our building department in the right direction for many years, was an outstanding employee. My message to Jackie is congratulations on your retirement, but also you're always welcome back. The door is open, and you're welcome to join us anytime. And then lastly, but not least, just wanted to thank and congratulate Gary on his retirement. He's dedicated decades to the village, and it was great to get to know him and to work with him. And we're also looking forward to working with him as a consultant moving forward. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel, legal, and contractual matters. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The time is 8:19 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to return to public session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to walk on a resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Steve Phillips to the position of acting DPW superintendent with an additional stipend of an annual increment of $8,000 prorated for the time and the position for the increased work level. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. The time is 8:20 p.m. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.